Her smile shines as bright as the stars at night. Her heart is as kind as can be. She has the patience of a saint, but if you push her, oh Lordy. A straight talker is smiley. She's the salt of the earth. Make no mistake, she matters. Catch Smiley's story on a live stream. Oh boy, that girl can matter. Go Smiley. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Missing posters and stories of heartache and fear. She tells us all of the heartbreaking tears. She can sniff out the guilty from a mile away. If Smiley's on the case, then she's here to stay. She cares about these missing children. She cares deeply about them all. She speaks the truth with integrity. For the truth, she will seek it all. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Smiley's questions are like a heat-seeking missile. She's going straight for the bullseye. Don't ever believe you can fool her. She's too wise, man, she won't comply. She values freedom like the 4th of July. She values respect even more. If you want to earn a place at Smiley's table, watch the clock, it takes time for sure. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you break her trust, you're done for. Trust don't grow back like grass. So don't give Smiley a reason to doubt you, or that friendship will shatter like glass. She's a damn good woman, that much we know. She puts in the hours to bring them kids home. If your child is missing, you want Smiley on the case. She is always willing and she gives so much grace. She's a Smiley, alright. She's a Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you're guilty, you better feel fear.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, hello, hello. Happy March 4th. Good to see everybody here. Who have we got? Who have we got here? Hey, Jude. Hello, beautiful. Hello, show poodles. Hello, let me see. Let me see. Oh, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. Hello, Gypsy. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Hello, that's right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Uh-oh. Y'all know, okay, I still don't have my mouse. It's really bothering me that I don't have my mouse. Y'all just bear with me. I'm old school. I need a mouse. I need a mouse. Hey, Green Eyes. Hello, hello. Thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Hello, hello. Good to see you, buddy. Hello. Thank you for being here. I love seeing all my people. I appreciate you all being here. Hello, hello. And everybody in the vertical, if I can't see you, hell, I don't know if I can see you or not. I still hadn't figured it out. I still haven't, but it's okay. I love y'all too. I love you too. Hello, Nona. Hello, hello, Laura. Hello, 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 everybody. As y'all seen, I had it set for almost an hour and something. I'm like, This StreamYard is not fooling me today, honey. It's not. Let me go back in there and change the time on that. Let me change the time. So look, anybody coming in, they can just get set up. Pray. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I haven't been seeing what's going on. I know Middle E had surgery. So, is anything happened since then? I know that he was doing okay. Hey, Jude, can you let us know? Because I don't know. Let's just pray. Let's pray for Middle E. They have really been struggling, really been struggling. Orange hearts, everybody. Pray for Middle E. Mm, mm, mm. And pray for them all. Pray for them all. Listen, let's send love and prayers to everybody that needs love and prayers, okay? There's a lot of things going on and a lot of people that needs them that, just do. They just do. Thank you, Show Poodles. Much love to you. Thank you, Show Poodles. Thank you. Anybody who don't know, I love Show Poodles. When Show Poodles comes in, I used to have a dog, Bubbles, like that. Look, just like that. Just like that. That was my heart. And had her 19 years and had to finally she went on and passed on. And every time I see Show Poodles dog, I love it. I love it. I love it. But anyway, thank you for always coming in here and making my day with that. Thank you. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you for that. I appreciate your support. I wanted to talk about this. I had a live on this several months back, and I wanted to talk about it again today. The mom actually has been in court, a little bit ago, but I wanted to talk about it, and I did study it a little bit more in depth, and I just thought it would be a little something different to talk about because, you know, it does bring the hope, but it also makes us remember um, things like this in the world does happen. It does. And it happens just like this. And it's shocking. It's shocking. But there is some reminders in here. And we're going to get into it. I will play a couple of clips. But this happened in Kentucky. And I want to talk about it. And it's a story that honestly sounds like something out of a movie, but it's real. It's real. When this girl on my screen, she was a little girl, that was her at the time. And can you imagine living your entire life and you believe that you know who you are, but you don't? You're not that person. You're not that person. Your name, your childhood, your mother, your whole story, everything is not true. Then one day someone knocks on your door and they're going to tell you something that changes your entire life. They say, "You're a missing person." Hey, Dawn. They say, "You're a missing person." Can y'all let that soak in for a minute? This is the story of Michelle. So back in 1983, this little 3-year-old girl on my screen, she's from Kentucky. She disappeared, and her father, Joe Newton, was told that Michelle's mother was taking her to Georgia. And the mother told him she was going to set up a home for the family. But when he arrived, they wasn't there. They were gone, just like that. So for 42 years, Joe lived with questions. He lived with questions no parent should ever have to live with. He wanted to know, was his daughter alive? Was she okay? Was she safe? Did she even remember him? You know, a lot of us say, do kids have memories when they're that little? So years turned into decades. And you know, the more I went back on this story, even though I told it before, I didn't tell it quite like I'm going to tell it today because I dug a little further. It really made me think about Sebastian and Summer. And, you know, you start thinking about these things, man. Well, birthdays passed, Christmases passed, the entire chapters of everybody's life passed, actually. But he never stopped wondering where his little girl was. Some people would have just gave up. But what makes this case even more heartbreaking is that Michelle herself, she didn't even know. She didn't know the difference. She didn't know she had been taken. Her mother wasn't trying to hide her anywhere. Now get this. She grew up under a different name. She believed the life she was living was the truth until 2025. And this is the important part. And this is one I think is very important where people need to stop saying, and you know what people, I mean, especially on here, we don't have to go there because I'm not trying to be ugly. But yes, some things are your business. This is where people need to stop saying, this is not your business, because some things just are your business, especially when it comes to children. But even if they're adults, okay? So the reason she was found, even all these years later when she was grown, was a tip. A tip came through. So sometimes you got to make things your business. A tip finally changed everything. So she was in Florida. She wasn't in Georgia. She wasn't in Kentucky. But her mother had her down in Florida. And police located her in Florida. Okay? And in that moment, that must have felt like, you know, just breathtaking. She must have just dropped to her feet when they told her. Michelle learned that the life she thought was hers was not the whole story. 42 years after she disappeared, a father finally saw his daughter. But imagine emotions inside that moment. Just imagine joy, shock, confusion, relief, anger, you name it. It was probably all there. How do you process that? How would you process that? I have no idea what I would feel. I just don't. I don't know how he processed that. Losing a child for 4 decades and then suddenly having them back. Today, we're going to talk about the disappearance, the shocking discovery, the emotional reunion between a father and the daughter that he never stopped searching for. Because sometimes the truth takes decades, but it does find its way home. Today, we're going to walk through that story together. And in cases where a child is taken by a parent at a very young age, something important psychologically happens. See, the child The child's entire identity forms around the life they were raised in. I call it brainwashing. But Michelle was only 3 years old when she disappeared. And at 3 years old, at that age, memories are still developing. And a child relies completely on the adult raising them for their sense of reality. And it comes from what they are told. So if a parent or their caregiver says, "This is your name, this is where you were born, this is your story," then that little child up there on my screen, they accept that is the truth, because to them, that is their truth. That's the only, reality. That's the only life that they have ever known. And that person taking care of them, their mom, their dad, whoever, that's who they love and that's who they believe in. And they have no reason to doubt them. They trust them. They have no reason to doubt them. Many parental abduction cases involve what psychologists call identity replacement. A child is given a new name, sometimes a new birth date, a new history. They may be told their other parent is dangerous or abandon them. You know, there's no telling what they're told. Sometimes they can be told the mom or dad died. I mean, I've heard that before. They could tell them they died when they were a baby. I had a girlfriend when I was growing up, and you know, her baby's daddy run off with her kids. It was horrible. I didn't even know what to think when she was telling me and my grandma about it. It was crazy. I don't know what happened in this case. I'm just telling you the things that can and do happen. Sometimes that story becomes a child's entire reality, and they're not hiding. They're not they're not in hiding. They truly believe the life they are living is their real life. And the brain also protects the children. Just remember that. If something is confusing or traumatic ever happened at a young age, the brain often blocks that out. You still hear that to this day. The brain still blocks something out, even for us adults. It rewrites memories. It accepts the version told by the caregiver. Sometimes it just gets blocked out. And that's why many victims have this, you know, trauma, they just block things out. That happens a lot in long-term abduction cases. It's like, I have no idea I was missing, because they didn't. And when the truth comes out decades later, the emotional impact can be extremely complicated and confusing. The victim may feel shock, betrayed, confusion. They may have their identity all mixed up because they love the parent who raised them, but now they have this curiosity about the parent who searched for them. And now, not only are they confused, hurt, and shocked, but they're suddenly caught between these two worlds. So imagine learning that, you know, the life you thought was yours was actually built on a secret, a lie, and it started before you was even old enough to remember. So Michelle Newton, she didn't hide for 42 years. She lived a life she believed was true. She had no idea that it was not true or she was hiding. And sometimes the most shocking part of these stories is realizing the missing person didn't even know they were missing. There's other stories out there just like this one. Michelle's not the only one. She's not the only one. You got JC Dugard. You got a lot of people out there. Remember Steven Steiner? My name is Steven. We talked about that before. Thank you, Raymond. Raymond gifted a Smiley Squad membership. Whoop whoop. Raymond, I have these quarters where I had to have quarters today. I don't have my bell with me. Thank you, Raymond. Whoever got that, welcome to the Smiley Squad. Thank you for your support, Raymond. Thank you. But as shocking as it sounds, it does happen. There's children that have been missing for decades and were found alive under completely different identities. Some were actually taken from strangers, yes, but some were by people that they trusted. And it is always a miracle in itself when somebody is found. It really is. But it does happen. Now, it's rare, but it does happen. The heartbreaking part is that many of these children grew up and they did not even know they were missing. They lived normal lives, or what could be called as normal. I don't know if you call it normal or not. I'm not sure that's the right word, because it's not normal when you're not with where you're supposed to be. I'll just say that. But they did go to school. They made friends. Some of them did celebrate birthdays and stuff like that. But it's not okay. None of that's okay. You still, not when you still got a family searching, you still got a family wondering, still hoping, not knowing if the child's dead or alive. None of that's okay. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And people who do that need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, in my opinion. I don't care who they are. But cases like Michelle Newton remind us that when a child disappears, the story doesn't always end the way we expect it. Sometimes the truth is hidden for years, sometimes decades. But the most important thing is sometimes it takes a tip or a photo or a person recognizing something that doesn't seem right. And sometimes, after decades of questions, a door finally does open. And I think that's the most important thing we could hear here. And a family learns that, their never stop looking part was worth it. And, their baby, even though grown, is still alive. It's sad, but it's a reminder of something important. Never stop searching, never give up, never stop speaking their names, because you never know who or when or how the truth might finally, come, come to light. You just don't know how all that may take play. And I think that is so important. I do. I think that's so important. But that in itself, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I think I always, if you say something, see something, say something. The tip and a photo, the person called in literally to Crime Stoppers. And that's what got her recognized. I mean, we're talking years and decades later. So, of course, if you see something, you need to say something. I mean, and that's the best we can hope for. She disappeared out of Louisville, Kentucky, which is in Jefferson County. And for those that don't know, that place is actually big, huge. A place of a that people excuse me, a big place with a lot of people in it, you know. And I don't, you know, I don't understand. You know, she was 3 years old. Why would her mom do that? Why would her mom do that? You know, people are so cruel. You know, in April of 1983, Michelle was 3 years old. Again, you see her on my screen. Her father, Joe, he was living in the Louisville area with Michelle, okay? The little girl, and her mother, Deborah. Her mother's name was Deborah Newton. Deborah told Joe, for those just coming in, that she was going to Georgia. I'll repeat it again, to prepare this house that the whole family, him, Michelle, and her, was going to move to. But instead of that, she never came back. She disappeared with Michelle. Joe reported Michelle missing. So then, back then, the missing child's case was opened up in Louisville, Kentucky, okay? So at the time, police did believe Deborah had taken Michelle and disappeared intentionally. They believed that. I hope she is too, show poodles. I hope she is too. I really do. I think she's sorting it out, but I hope she is too, because this is very sad. Now, but Kentucky did handle the case, even though Michelle was eventually found in Florida. Okay? Decades later, the case stayed tied to Kentucky because the disappearance happened in Kentucky, in Louisville. Okay? The custodial interference charge originated in Kentucky. Kentucky investigators, took it on as a missing child. The missing child organizations kept the case open for years. Now, the shocking part, all that stayed in Kentucky. Well, that's not shocking that it stayed in Kentucky, but in Louisville, Kentucky, the 3-year-old little girl, it shocked them all that happened there. Now, for 42 years, nobody knew where Michelle Newton was. The shocking part is that she was alive the entire time, okay? There was one small clue early in the investigations that the police now believe might have predicted exactly what happened to her, and it's something most people never heard about. And so when Michelle disappeared in 1983, investigators suspected something important, that she was last seen with her mother. Okay, that was no shock. Her father, Joe, told police that Deborah said she was taking Michelle to Georgia to prepare a home for the family. But immediately, Deborah stopped contacting him. So that was their first clue. Well, that would be anybody's first clue. Really, that's now if we look at it, there's nothing shocking about that. But you got to remember, back in 1983, they didn't handle cases the way that they handle cases now. I mean, Georgia Bureau of Investigations would have been all over. This would have been all over. That would have been all over. That didn't happen. Friends and relatives said they didn't know where she went. Of course they did. Okay? I'm just saying, it don't take a lot of rocket scientists to figure that out. But anyway, police could not find them. So back in 1983, things were a lot different than they are today in 2025, 2026. She was found in 2025. That's why I say that. But there was no internet, no national digital ID tracking. Everything was limited national, the national databases for missing children. So if someone moved to another state and they changed their name, they kind of avoided official records and stuff, right? So this is kind of how she was able to live out in the open. But it could be very hard to track them down. So investigators suspected Michelle had been taken by her mother, but they had no way to locate them, allegedly. I still say you're able to track bank robbers, you're able to. Anyway, that's just me, but hey, okay. But decades later, police discovered that Deborah had allegedly taken Michelle out of Kentucky, lived under a different identity, which we're going to see in a minute here that that's exactly what she did. Even her mother lived under a different name. You're going to hear that when she was arrested, okay? And she raised Michelle under another name, meaning the early suspicion that Michelle had been taken, the parent who left her, that took her, she was living under a different identity too, and that they were likely correct. Well, a lot of good that does now, right? But okay. Sometimes the biggest clue in the missing child case is the very first one investigators see. Well, you should go with your gut feeling. Isn't that what I always tell you? But there's no sense in blaming nobody now. I'm just telling you the facts here. In Michelle Newton's case, the person who said they were leaving to visit, that they said they were leaving with her, was the person who never came back. Okay, so at the time Michelle disappeared, things were again very different. In 1983, things were very different because you see, y'all, the Amber Alerts did not exist at that time. The system with the Amber Alerts didn't come out until 1996. So there was one problem. Alerts had been spread at that time. Back then, you had to hand do it by bulletin boards or, put them up on the boards and, by newspaper coverage and all that. And there was no real large search parties and the things that they do now. So investigators believed that Michelle was taken by someone she knew, and she was. At that time, this case involved the Louisville Metro Police Department and only the National Center for Exploited and Missing Children. That's who this case involved. Now, over the years, Michelle remained listed, though, as a national missing person in the missing persons national database. When the case reopened decades later, multiple agencies then got involved, and that included the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Then that included the Florida Law Enforcement Agency. These agencies helped verify Michelle's identity once investigators located her. So, how she was literally actually found, again, this is important and I want y'all to hear. She was literally actually found because of a tip. Investigators had released, and listen, I just talked to Seth about this the other night, and I said, Seth, I don't know who you need to talk to, but you, and Katie, if you hear this, by golly, you need to get on the stick too. I'm telling you, it's time. It's been 2 years. It's usually the 2 year mark. They need to do the professional update on, the children, instead of people going around giving the birds to the parents. Listen, need to contact whoever does the drawings for the missing kids. It's time. But anyway, that's how this girl was found. Okay? Somebody saw that updated missing poster. Even though she's an adult, they saw the tip line. They called in the tip. And that led the Florida department to them. So when I tell you people these things matter, yes, they matter. They matter. They matter. Okay? But I'm telling you guys, again, tips matter no matter how small. Don't set on them. It's not for you to worry about or think, will they look at them or will they go check them out? It's not for you to worry about. Turn the tip in. This tip got Michelle saved. I don't know if she was in danger or not. It don't matter. But it kept a father from thinking his child might be dead. It kept him from thinking one more day. Listen, it was 42 years, and it matters. And even though if she was okay, the next person may not be okay. All victims matter. That's right, Raymond. And guess what? If you don't call that tip like somebody did Michelle, then that next victim might not be okay and might be being abused and burnt and God only knows what. So, yes, it's your business. Okay? So, investigators looked into the identity she was using that she had no idea was not hers. They compared records, they compared the background information, they confirmed through DNA and documentation that she was, in fact, Michelle Newman. And guess what? She was Michelle. Did Michelle know she was missing? No. Michelle reportedly grew up under a different name and did not know she had been kidnapped. She believed the woman raising her was simply her mother and that the life she had was normal. Finding out the truth at 46 years old was a massive shock to her. So, what happened to the mother, you ask? Oh, let me tell you. Her mother, Deborah Newton, was arrested in Florida. Michelle was identified. Authorities charged her mother with custodial interference, parental kidnapping. Because the crime originated in Kentucky, she was expected to face charges connected to the original disappearance. Parental abduction cases like this can still be prosecuted, even decades later, depending on the laws involved. And you think Florida's bad? I assure you, she don't want to be in Kentucky, but that's probably why she left the state. But, sweetie, how did you think that would work for you? You're going to see that bluegrass of Kentucky again after all. Actually, she already has. Until you see those Code gray bars. Well, she's already seen that too because she did get arrested. She did get brought back to Kentucky, extradited, and she did make bond. I'm surprised she made bond, but here you got to make a full cash bond. And so that's what she did, pay a full cash bond. Somebody, some family member, I don't know who, paid her cash bond for her like just last month. For Joe Newton, it ended more than 4 decades wondering if his daughter was dead or alive. He knows she's now alive. Imagine holding your child as a toddler and then seeing them again 42 years later as an adult. For 42 years, Joe Newton didn't know if his daughter was even alive. He had to go through that, man. I'd hate to see anybody go through that. Or gone forever. He didn't know. He didn't know what was being done to her. And somewhere out there, Michelle Newton was living a life she believed was her own, not knowing she had been missing this entire time. That's crazy. Michelle reportedly told media she wants healing for her family and everyone involved, including both of her parents, while the legal system continues its course. Michelle's trying to process everything. So I do please ask that you give her privacy if you're around in that area. She did travel to Kentucky. She has met with her father, and she is trying to figure out who she is. Listen, I imagine she's having an identity crisis, you know? Um, she is trying to process things and heal, in my opinion. I cannot imagine somebody knocking on my door and telling me something like that. At 46 years old, your name's changed, your life story, your your mom's name's not your mom's name. I mean, and your father's really here, and I can't imagine any of this. The father had been searching for 4 decades. I just can't. This kind of discovery takes some time to process. It's going to still take time to process. The charge can still be prosecuted because Kentucky laws has no statute of limitation for that offense, period. And it's still working its way through the court system. The mom, she's appeared in court, she's pleaded not guilty, and her next court date is scheduled for appearance March 27th, 2026. She is being held in the Jefferson County Court. The hearing will be, she's out on bond. Like I said, she had to pay a full cash bond, but she's being held in court in the Jefferson County Court where the original disappearance happened, and that's where she'll have her court at. So we'll see what happens then. And, if convicted, I don't know what she could face. Possibly 1 to 5 years. To me, that sounds like a little bit of nothing, but it'd be something. Get some fines. I don't know. I don't know. Deborah Newton, she was arrested in Florida in November 2025. That's when she got arrested on this. And we're going to watch that. Actually, we're going to watch it now where her little ass got caught up. And she's not using the same name. So hold on just a minute. Let me take this down. Your past always comes back on you. It does. Keep them locked. That's what I say. Keep them locked up. 1 to 5 years ain't shit. I'm literally glad. I'm literally glad though. Honestly, I'm literally glad she got a bond because even if she gets the year, if she would have stayed in there now, she'd have just been staying in a little. So listen, I don't know if it's like Tennessee. If you got to get 1 day past 12 months to even go to prison. So I hope she does. She at least goes to prison. Dummy, dummy, whatever. I don't know. I'll let them handle that. It's a people of their peers, they say they're always right. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? Share screen. Oh, no, let's see this one. Okay, let's see her getting arrested. And this is WDRB.
Newly released body camera footage shows the moment a woman was arrested accused of abducting her daughter from Louisville.
This missing persons case went unsolved for more than 40 years. WDRB walks us through the arrest and explains what's next in the criminal case.
Deborah Newton was once among the FBI's top 8 most wanted parental kidnapping fugitives. Now, more than 40 years later, she's been caught.
You have a warrant for your arrest.
They have to.
Ma'am, we're not.
The look on Deborah Newton's face says it all.
I don't understand.
She stood in shock as Marion County officers showed up outside this Florida home with a warrant for her arrest. In the video, you hear Newton going by the name Sharon.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put you in handcuffs, okay?
Newton faces felony charges here in Louisville for abducting her daughter Michelle in 1983.
I didn't do anything.
Michelle has been considered missing and endangered since she was just 3 years old. Law enforcement says she never knew she was a victim, but she was reunited with her father, Joseph, earlier this month.
This is Commonwealth, Kentucky versus Deborah Lee Newton.
The pair showed up to Deborah's Louisville court hearing last week. She faces a felony charge of custodial interference, which carries no statute of limitations. That means this case can still be prosecuted, despite 42 years going by.
So it's an open indictment.
Though this case went cold, the search efforts never stopped. For Michelle's 45th birthday, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children made this post, showing what she could have looked like.
Take a seat for me.
The breakthrough, though, came from a Crime Stoppers tip, claiming Deborah was using a different name. Deborah Newton pled not guilty in this case. A judge set her bond at $35,000 full cash, which she posted. Her release also came with the condition of no new offenses.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Can we excuse you?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Newton has a pretrial conference set for January 23rd at 10:30. Raina Katko, WDRB News.
Raina, thank you.
Okay, so she's already went. Hey, Lady Justice, hi, good to see you. All right, so she's already went to her January. So she has one, what did I say, March 27th, I believe. She has one March 27th coming up. So this is crazy. Yeah, oh, I'm trying to get this out. Boy, I swear, me and my little thing, Madoogies. So yeah, all right. So I have another one we're gonna look at. I guess where Michelle. I think this one's where Michelle was reunited with her father. Hold on. But yeah, I know he was relieved. But yeah, in Kentucky you got to pay a cash bond. Let's see. I believe this one is it right here. Okay. This is watch Fox 57.
Does this sound familiar to you?
Uh-oh, they're coming for you, Sharon! They don't want me. They want Reggie. What's up?
Well, we're here for you, ma'am.
The case that we're covering today started with a viral video. We saw this woman, Sharon, we'll call her, being arrested. We now know that woman is Deborah Newton, who allegedly abducted her own daughter 43 years ago. That video was weird enough on its own, but the story that unraveled because of it is really, it's stranger than fiction. When Deborah Newton allegedly kidnapped her own 3-year-old daughter back in 1983, her then husband Joe was left without any answers for 43 years. I'm Ann Emerson, an investigative reporter with more than 30 years of experience, and this is a conversation I have been eager to have, and I cannot wait to share with you. I'm talking with Joe Newton,
Young
who's been
girl now.
reunited with his daughter, who's been missing from his life and the world up until now.
She pretty much is an angel.
Oh,
Daddy's little girl.
If you haven't yet, go back and watch our previous episodes covering this case so you get the full impact of what Joe has to say. And be sure to like and subscribe to Criminally Obsessed for more conversations with the people who are at the center of these kind of cases. Joe Newton, I am so pleased to meet you.
place is
I have thought about you, and I hope you're doing well.
I am. I'm doing real well. Great right now.
And tell me, this is a special time. I want to ask you, I want to understand can you take me through what life was like before you lost Michelle in your life? Can you tell me a little bit about your marriage and how you and Deborah came together?
Actually, we met each other at vocational school. Started dating when she was 15, I was 16. Actually, we had goals just like everybody else. It was a great relationship. I actually asked her to marry me when I was 17, and I kind of got a rebuttal from my dad, and he thought I was talking about it immediately, and I explained to him, no, we were finishing high school and stuff, and after that, it was okay a little bit. He still kind of looked at us and said, we're young, but at the same time, we were both working. We had goals, and we got married. We were 17 and 18. We bought our first house at 18. We started off on the right foot. I mean, we really did. As things went along, I think more than anything, we probably forgot what we were working for, and led to some bad decisions in our life. And the last year of it, we were trying to work those problems out, or as I thought anyway. But we had great parents. We had great family. There wasn't any abuse or anything like that in our marriage. All in all, I thought we were probably great parents at one time, but we wasn't a good husband and wife at one time. We kind of lost what we were really working for. I think we were both good parents. We just lost the husband and wife part of it. As I said, we had some problems in our marriage, and we thought we were working them out. She came to me and asked me about going to take a job in Atlanta. The company that she worked for supposedly was going to open up a new branch. Looking back on it, I guess I was kind of naive and really didn't ask the right questions and stuff, but we agreed that she'd go to Atlanta, start the job, and on the fourth week, I'd be down there, and at that time, she'd make a decision whether we were going to stay or not. And for 3 weeks, I called every day, and she answered and everything, talked to my daughter. And the fourth week come around when I was supposed to come down, she didn't answer. And I couldn't get her to answer. And unfortunately, because I trusted everything, I didn't have enough information to go looking for her.
And Joe, let's remind everybody right now, Joe, you're talking about
And can you imagine, first of all, you're thinking you got a wife and a daughter in Atlanta. Even back then in 1983, Atlanta was a huge city. From somebody being from Kentucky, you got a wife and a daughter. I mean, you're probably thinking all kinds of things could have happened. Imagine how this man's heart dropped to the floor when she stopped answering. And then back then, there was not a lot of resources and things like that. I just can't even imagine what he went through. I'm just thinking out loud, man. That's just, oh Lord, stop, go away. Don't even start with me. Ads.
1983, when we don't have
What happened? What happened? Oh my God, what happened? Are you serious? What happened? All right, y'all, what happened? Seriously?
Cell phones. We don't have the internet. Like
We didn't
this
have a
was,
lot of anything at
yes,
that
sir.
point.
I mean, this was back. That was when, yeah, I was 13 years old. I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that feeling. So
The laws are not the same. There's a lot of different little things that changed from the time that my daughter left until now. At the time, I still didn't know all I knew is she wasn't answering. I didn't know if she was in trouble. I didn't know what. All I knew is that she supposedly left to go down there. So I went to her dad's, mom's, and asked them if they had heard from her. I said, I'm not real sure. That Monday, I went to where she worked in Louisville and got to talk to the CEO just to find out she had quit a month ago.
Oh, wow.
So, okay, now I know that,
oh boy.
yeah, that there's something here. So I asked him a couple more questions. I said, if you don't mind me talking to you a little bit, I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but supposedly you all paid for multiple trips. And he proceeded to tell me, he said, we didn't pay for any trips. So at this point, now I know pretty much this portion of it's a lie. I don't really know what. So at that point, I went back home and I really didn't know what I was going to do next. And I got a phone call from one of the coworkers that she worked with. And she told me, she said, your daughter's in a very bad situation. I know the address where she's at and the person she left with. So now I know there's a person involved in this. And I went to her dad and I said, I want to tell you what I know at this point. At this point, I know it's not a company thing. She set this up to leave. I don't know everything, but I know there's a guy involved. So, and I didn't know him until they gave me their name. But I had the address where they was at. So I took Mr. Curry and my sister, we drove to Georgia. And the intent was to try to talk to his daughter to do whatever, straighten it out. But when we got there, we were told not to come back, not to do this. And at that point, when I come back, I didn't have the paperwork I needed to do to get my daughter. So as soon as I come back, I told Mr. Curry I was filing for a divorce and I was going to file for custody. And that's what I did immediately. And from there, it was a lot of things that people don't understand, and I didn't either. The first thing I had to do was to get her served, and that was no easy task to do.
So you went down there immediately. You went down to Atlanta pretty much immediately as soon as you realized what was happening. Is that right?
The 5th week. I was actually down there the 5th week.
And Joe, who was with you? Who was with you when you went down there? Were you on your own or
No, I took my father.
That's so sad.
At that time went with me. I didn't want to go down there without him. I told him, this is, it's your daughter.
He could have went down there.
Maybe you talk to her. If she wants a divorce, whatever it is. At this time, I'm really not sure what her intent it was or what. But as things went on, I realized that she left for a guy that was 20 years older, had money. I don't understand. And as the the investigation at that time in the 80s went on, a lot of things were told to me. Basically, I was dealing with two different people. There was a person I knew, and then another person that's another life she led.
There was Deborah that you knew that you married, and then there was a Deborah that was living a totally different existence.
Totally different life, totally different thing.
Joe, I've got to ask you right here, because I think our viewers really need to understand, the people that watch this interview that care so deeply about your story and care so deeply about Michelle, is that Deborah, during her interrogation, that it was you, that you were the abuser. And I know that you just said this to me, but she said these things about you.
Was there any other type of domestic abuse or anything like that? Anything else going on? Anything physical?
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything?
Yeah.
What all happened with
Oh,
that?
he would hurt me.
Yeah.
He would hit me. He would hurt me. He would force me. But most of all, it was the threats.
And I want to give you an opportunity right now to address what she was accusing, that it was you that was the one that she had to get away from.
I understand that. I went through that 43 years ago. You know, they went through my background, they went through everything. There was no physical violence whatsoever from either side. That was not the case. I would say this: she wanted out. Obviously, I think because she was young. As I got older, I think she was manipulated by. That's the guy she left with. I was told a lot of different things when they investigated about the situation, that they thought there was a lot more to this.
Joe's talking about the man that supposedly Deborah ran off with when she took Michelle and left Joe 43 years ago. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg, just to let you know. This story is still developing.
Yes,
and as we
thank
have more
you,
updates that we can share with you.
agreeing with you.
And go back to the records, what I said 43 years ago. If they can go in and pull up all that, they investigated my allegations and stuff and found nothing to be true. I don't have anything there to say to it. You could go back and forth with this all day long.
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering, I know we haven't got there yet, but I'm wondering too, like so why did she have to change her identity and the little girl's identity? You know, if you're going through a divorce or you don't want to be with the father or the mother or whoever, you just simply tell the kid, you know, you don't. I'd be curious as to know all this stuff. I don't believe that. And because if that was the case too, she would have probably got custody of the little girl anyway. And even back then. So I don't believe all that, you know, and then she had to go through this whole ruse. She was going to set up shop and a job and all that in another state and yada, 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 and lied about her job. That's some Casey Anthony bullshit right there. Don't get me started on all this stuff. You know, there's a bunch of red flags. You know, this man seemed like, I don't know him, but he seemed like a good Kentucky boy and a man, whatever at the time. And, you know, did the right, you can tell off the bat he did the right thing instead of just going off the hinges to go get her after he found out she was cheating on him. What did he do? He didn't go off the hinges like another Kentucky boy would have went. He and probably kicked up all them doors. He went and got her father, right? And did the right thing. You know, what are you doing the red flags for, Raymond? I'm confused. I don't know. I stepped away for a minute, but I read on an article that she was running from a DUI. Oh, and that could be possible. Absolutely. Something is definitely not correct about this. Something is definitely wrong with this picture. You know, something is wrong with this picture. So I don't know. Oh, the case of the mother. Oh, yeah, I thought I was mute or something. Yeah, that red flag confused me. Yeah, this whole case is a red flag. This case is a red flag. But yeah, that is a red flag. Um, yeah, because she could have got custody. So I don't believe the mother at all. And then I know we have not got there yet, but I'm anxious to see, since she disappeared all these years, I'm anxious to see what he's telling, because he's telling his story, which I'm assuming is the truth so far. Um, so he didn't know where his daughter was all of these years. Uh, but I'm betting that her family knew. And did you hear the police? Did you hear? I don't know who that was with her at the yard when the police got there in Florida. That was somewhere in Ocala, because I'm from Florida, Marion County, probably. And did you hear them? Oh, they're coming for you. What made them think they were coming for her? Huh? You know, I'm just saying. I don't know. It's just really strange. Let me do this without my mouse and see if it's going to stop me again. Hold on. That's why I don't like to be stopping during this. But hold on. Okay, let's see if we can get on with it.
Tell anybody that if she was leaving because of me, I would understand that maybe. But she left her whole family.
Yeah.
She left everybody, both sides, and they were good people. So you got to look at that and say, you know, there's more to this than she's running away from me. She was running to somebody, what she was doing. You know, I don't really care what other people think one way or another. I do care what my daughter thinks. That's the person I care. You know, everybody else can, you know, have their opinions. I don't give a shit. I know what I've done, what I haven't done.
Joe, I want to know, like, I mean, as a parent with 2 kids myself that are, you know, my heart, how, when you realized that everything had just gone south, that Deborah wasn't telling you the truth, she wasn't where you thought she was, do you remember that feeling of what went through your...
I will say throughout the very first, you know, there was a lot more anger at her. As I got older, that anger went to him, because I think more than anything, she got manipulated by him and his position and his mind. But at the same token, you know, there was times where I got thinking, well, did she get in a situation she couldn't get out of? Is she still alive? You know, under the circumstance which she left, that he had control of her, which I don't think is good for anybody. But that seemed to be, and what was said to me by the FBI and the police that investigated it, it was always something on that line that he was more in control of her by leaving the way they left and cutting off all ties, things like that. I know when very first cut off all her ties, and her parents and stuff, which I greatly regret, that they got detectives badgering them, going after them, thinking that they knew something, and they did not. They simply wanted. I know a conversation me and her dad had. He told me, he said, "Look, I want to do whatever I have to do for my daughter." I told him, I appreciate that, but that's my daughter on the other side. So we both had an understanding, you know, and I don't know why she took the route she took, because her dad would have done anything for her. And she was best friends with Frank Haddad in Louisville. And anybody in Louisville at that time would know that lawyer. Basically, I might have got my custody rights, but I would not have any chance of getting full custody.
And that's a great point, Joe. I mean, like, one thing that I'm hearing is that you were a dad, a young dad who was trying to navigate this legal system, right?
It was not a legal system. And even still today, when you get paperwork, it really didn't matter because when you went somewhere, you had this stigmatism that, especially in the 80s, I was one of the first dads that filed for custody. All the paperwork I went and did mostly was a woman going after a man. So it really was a no-win situation. Even if I got the paperwork, when you went somewhere, and I would say going to Georgia with Kentucky paperwork was useless. When I went down after I got custody, and they wouldn't honor it. So I came back and got another piece of paper, which was supposed to be honored anywhere. It's a governor's seal. Again, trying to do it the right way. If I look back at that, there was a time I could have kicked the door down a couple of times. Even an officer in Georgia told me, he said, I'll arrest you, but you can take your chances in trial. I kind of regret that multiple times in my life.
So you were right there, Joe. I mean, you were literally right there, right? Is that what you're telling me?
When I got the governor's seal, I went back down to Georgia. I called CPS in Louisville, and what I wanted to do was to have CPS in Georgia to pick up the order. Went to CPS, got them, and I had to go to the judge with him. And the judge would not honor it. He would not pick my daughter up. He wouldn't put her in custody. And I still today do not understand it, except the only thing I could think of is the guy had enough pool in Georgia and found out he was
after that
quite wealthy.
One case I did in Georgia, remember?
It made no
his
sense.
Own house. I
wasn't asking to take my daughter. I was asking to put it in Georgia CPS custody, and he simply wouldn't do it. So that's when I came back and pursued for a felony, and it was a misdemeanor at that time. The laws had changed, and when it changed, I was explained that she would have a grace period up until that day that the law went in effect. She could have returned Shelley and it'd still been a misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm.
She did not. So it automatically went into a felony. That's the simple layman terms is what they. So now today, that's whether or not they'll honor that, I don't know. That's going to come up in court.
And tell me, Joe, do you remember that last time that you saw Michelle and Deborah together?
Yeah, I thought the day that she left.
Tell me what happened that day. Tell me what happened that last moment you saw your daughter.
We, like I said, thought she was going to set up a apartment in Atlanta, and it's loaded up with the U-Haul with the stuff out of the apartment, and I hugged and I told her I'll see her in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It was 3 weeks we was calling, and that's the last time I seen my daughter. It's just been a long road to get to here. I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Joe, how did you, for 40 years, your family and you held out hope?
Her family didn't know anything either. Her family missed her. When
that's what I was waiting
told her sister, Karen, that if I ever got my daughter back, I would make sure that she met them. And the first day my daughter drove back is when we found.
Okay, that's what I was waiting on too. Are y'all understanding it the same way I am? That her family didn't know anything either. So did this lady go to Florida and not tell anybody after she left Georgia? I'm glad he lived to see this day too. So was that like her sister and everybody? Like she didn't tell them either? Like was she scared that they were gonna, I mean, so what? See, I was thinking probably her family. That's what I'm thinking, Carol. So, oh my God. I would have thought her family would have been helping her, and then I was going to say, oh, they were just as responsible. So she chose then to leave Georgia. Now she might have saw them in Georgia, but it sounds like she chose to leave Georgia and not see them again. I mean, we're going to get on into it, but that's what it sounds like to me. Unless he's really buying a bag of bullshit, unless they're really pulling the wool over his eyes. But it don't seem like it, because then the daughter would have had been in on it, and she didn't know anything about it. But that is really sad. Oh my goodness, that is so sad. Oh, this lady, man. But remember, unless it's her now husband, now I want to know who got her out on bond, who paid the 38,000 or whatever it was. Oh my God.
Out, she drove me in the back, and I made sure that she got to meet her mom's sister and her family. I kept my word.
It is.
Like I said, they were great people. That's the part that's always bugged me about, her leaving. Again, you might justify some, not say it justifies what you did, but anyway, right. But people could say, well, you left because of me, blah, blah, blah. But she didn't just leave me. She left everything. She took away from my daughter, all her uncles, all her cousins on both sides.
Yeah.
She literally,
there you go.
The victim was really my daughter, what she lost. And at that point is when I felt like she was no longer a good parent, because she put herself in front of my daughter and her daughter. Yeah, you don't get to just say, well, that's somebody else's fault. No, it's not. It's yours. You made that choice, and I don't care what, you made that choice. There's 100 different ways she could have went, and it would have been fine, but she took the wrong one. And I would hopefully out of anything, that people that look at it, if you have a problem with your marriage, don't put your kid in the middle of it. I will tell you, I will say, after I had the FBI involved, I figured I'd have my daughter back a long time ago, but that doesn't work that way. I do know as time goes on, you get put further and further back on it, especially as old as it is now. I could never thank the woman enough that found her, and I haven't got the opportunity to thank her personally, and I may not, but I certainly want everybody to know that I can't thank her enough for what she did. And the way she found her was due to technology, due to the new technology. You do, as the time goes on, you do. I didn't know if I was looking for somebody that was deceased, but you still have hope, and it was one of my things. I hope to at least tell her that I didn't abandon her. I didn't know if she'd be receptive to meet me or anything, but I did want her to know I never abandoned her.
Oh my goodness. How'd you figure out that she was alive and that
we really didn't know. We had no idea she was alive, but we kept looking. My sister, that me and her I think after somewhere around when she was turning 17, 18, they told me that she had the right to not. And I said, well, until that day comes, she's going to have to tell me, because whether she wants to meet me or not, at that point, I can at least tell her what whether it be giving it a message or something. And all at the time, you're really just wanting to find something to give some type of closure to
Right.
it.
That's the way it usually works.
You hope
Carol.
that they're
This is
alive.
insane.
You still look like want them to be alive, but as you get older, you're wondering what's her life been like. What did she, go through? What, all the things I missed that I can't get back. But at the same token, all you really want as a parent that she had a good life.
That she was safe and happy and that she was healthy.
That's kind of.
That's all you can hope for.
Yeah, you just hope she's having a good life.
But how did you tell me, Joe, like this year or this past year, what events led up to you finding out that that Michelle was alive and thriving as a human being?
November, I get a phone call from my sister, and she said, "Do you think Karen, which is my ex's sister, would do a DNA swab?" And I said, "Well, absolutely." I said, she'd do anything to find Shelley. So we called her up and hadn't talked to her in years. She said, "Yeah." So my sister had to. They had the U.S. Marshals, and they come by and got a DNA with them. 2 weeks later, I'm at work, and my sister calls me. She says, "I need you to come over to the house. I got a water problem." So I get there and pulling in a drive, and she's standing in the doorway and just bawling. And I said, "Oh my God, is her house flooded? What?" So I get up the door, and she goes, we found her." And I first did Rose. She said, "We found Debbie." And I said, "I don't," she said, I wouldn't tell you because me and you went down so many false leads. I knew 2 weeks ago that they pretty much had her. They wanted the DNA to be positive. And I wanted you to know they're going to arrest her at 10 o'clock. They wanted you to know before because we didn't want you to get bombarded. So they arrested her at 10 o'clock. That's when I knew. Now I know she's definitely alive.
Wow.
I think it about an hour after they had talked to her, she admitted who she was and everything. And then they called back and said, "We know where your daughter's at." When she got told that she wasn't who she thought she was, I was just amazed that she had called me. We got to face talk to each other that day, that night. I had several of my sisters with us sitting at the table. She got to see 5 of them then. And she was telling us she's always wanted a big family. And I started laughing. I said, "Be careful what you wish for, because you're
you now got a big family.
You got a huge family."
You got a huge. What was that first hug like?
I didn't want to let go. Still don't want to let go.
Already makes me want to cry.
It was 43 years of. I feel like I'm having my 3-year-old again, and here's this grown woman. But it was awesome.
Hear you, Michelle, in the corner there.
It was awesome. And then she literally drove the next day from where she was at to her house. And so when she gets there, I'm waiting on the front porch, and it was a very special. And I guess you get 43 years. It's just overwhelming. It's still overwhelming. So, but yeah. And next day, I got to make sure she got to meet her other family, and it came at a better time because Thanksgiving she got to go meet. She got to meet all my brothers and sisters.
It was that time.
She met part of the nieces and nephews. There was probably little over 100 of us there
Oh,
at Thanksgiving, but there's probably another 100 she ain't met yet. And hopefully at Easter or something, she'll
well,
get to
no,
meet most of them.
I love to see
But
stuff like
That's amazing.
she got to meet a lot of, she's got
Good
great
ending.
nieces and nephews or nieces that are named after her. She got to meet some of them. That was kind of neat.
I
So-
want to ask because Michelle brought it up, and when we talked in an interview, when we first were learning about all of this, she brought up that there was a dollhouse. Can you tell me about this dollhouse? We're going to get a picture of it here on screen so you can see the dollhouse
Look
for
at that.
yourself.
We had obviously going, coming, lawyers. My family was helping my brother and then the sisters and all. And my one brother was 5 years older than me. He made a dollhouse to be raffled off. I didn't know it even still existed, but one of our friends, neighbors in that community actually won it. And when they seen it aired, they recognized who it was. And my brother called me, Ben. He called me up and said, "You know the dollhouse David made?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "Well, it's still in existence." The Corbetts, when they won it, they had passed it down to their kids, their grandkid, and still had
Oh,
it.
that's sweet.
And was willing to give it back to my daughter. So me and my brother and my stepson drove to Florida. It took us 28
Bless
hours
his heart.
round trip. So we drove straight there, got it, and talked. But it's in good a shape as the day he made it. With a certain couple, still had the original paint, original everything on it. So we got to bring that back and give it to her. And that was really a neat thing and everything. But
Michelle, you can give him a hug. I can go in the corner there. Go ahead and give him a hug.
He gets surround sound tears here, so
You're killing me. You're killing me. I got literally.
I got Mama Beth over here crying. I'm over here crying.
so
I know you do. I mean, the story. I just can't even believe you said. I think it said you described seeing her as like an angel.
yeah, I don't know how else to describe her. So, I mean, she pretty much is an angel.
That is little girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
Y'all are so special.
Yeah. Well,
Ha, me.
I think we've both been waiting 43 years for it. So
But I wanted to understand like the part, the DNA swab that was taken that U.S. Marshals were able to like identify from there. What was the tip that tipped off law enforcement? Is it law enforcement?
So what we were told was it was an anonymous tip that came in from Marion County, which is the same county that my mother was living in. And it was someone who was doing some like novice AI, playing around with some like facial recognition and kind of moving things forward. And they came across this case. That is all that we know. I actually just reached out to the detective in Florida again. They left a message just trying to somehow connect with this person, even just through a phone call.
I was told that it was a woman
Was it? Okay.
that actually got into facial recognition as a hobby. And she liked it so much that she went out and bought her own computers and stuff and actually opened a business. And she works looking for criminals and missing and exploited children.
see, you never know. You don't ever know.
If she gets a match, she goes to whoever that might be. But she's come across the photos that we had sent out 40-some years ago and actually got a hit on our mom. And they were pretty certain at that time that it was her. And that's when they asked for the DNA. she turned it over to the proper authorities, and they went from there. So again, it's modern technology and somebody that to really just enjoyed what she was doing. But we really would like to thank her, but I don't know if she likes the limelight or that's not what she's doing it for, So
well, if she goes forward with an interview at all, and I'll stay in touch with Michelle about this too, Joe. I would love to. I mean, obviously this is our audience. I mean, they're armchair detectives. The people that watch our show, hear our stories, these are people that are invested in helping. They are literally the core of our people that watch this show. And I'm so grateful that we have so many people out there that want to know the truth.
Yeah.
So she shows up and wants to talk. That would be amazing. I'm going to take you off again for a minute, Michelle, if that's okay, off camera.
Yep.
Now that I couldn't handle hearing her crying without you getting a hug. I want to hug you, Joe. Like, I want to hug you. So I can only imagine what it's like being in that room right now. You are so sweet. I want to ask you a little bit about after that happened, after you were able to digest this information. And I don't know how much you watched. I don't know how much you're dealing with it right now, but Deborah was put in an interrogation room and her story went in a totally different direction. Guys, if you haven't seen our episode on the interrogation video, definitely give it a watch. I'll play a bit for you here so you can get an idea of the seriousness of what Deborah said in that interrogation room.
Joseph, my husband, and he took pictures of me with 2 different men, 2 different times, not together, but 2 different times, and said that if I left him, divorced him, he would take those films. They weren't videos, they were like
okay.
kind of old-fashioned film, and he would share them and show them to
Okay, so okay. I got a question. I have a question. Okay, she's shooting out her mouth right now, out the left side of her mouth, right? You heard what she said. I ain't trying to take sides. I'm just trying to use a little bit of common sense. So she's sitting there now because she's arrested and, in my opinion, allegedly, and all these things, right? Which I might too. Yeah, what a load, right? That's what I'm thinking. Because you know why? She left. She left 43 years ago. Well, she took the little girl. She left. She said, adios, amigos. Well, where's the film? Was it showed to the family? Was it showed to anybody? Hello? She wasn't too scared. She left anyway. And there wasn't no film showed, was it? Just wondering. I'm just asking questions. Exactly. I'm just wondering. Let's listen to this cockamania stuff.
So hearing that, it really puts Joe's response to these serious accusations in context.
Whether or not she ever tells the truth, I really don't care at this point. I do care that I don't want to be made out like some kind of monster that I'm not. I'll take credit for what I did wrong in the marriage, but outside of that, that's not going to not going to fly. Even when she left and when I went, I never said anything bad about her as a mom or anything. She was a very hardworking person. And at that time, I thought she was a great mom. But that changed when I really realized that my daughter was in danger. And under the circumstances which she left, they simply wasn't good. And I don't care what she tries to justify it. This was her decision to do what she did. She wasn't abused, and I wasn't abused either. It wasn't like that. So I'll wait for court and go through all that. And however it comes out, it comes out. But I got what I wanted, what I've been looking for. So.
Were you disappointed that she said what she said?
I'd already heard some of that back at the very beginning, trying to justify it. They investigated me at that time. They found nothing there to be true. And I didn't expect it to be any different. I think she was told to say what she said 40-some years ago. And I think she's held on to that for 40 years. I don't think anybody wants to. I think she's looking for a reason. That person over here justify her taking her daughter, taking her away from her, all her family and everything. And I don't care what happened in our marriage. It would never justify it. Never. You can't justify doing what you did by what she's saying. There's 100 different ways she could have went. That was even remotely true.
Man.
And it's simply not true. Like I said, I feel like she was told how to leave. She didn't want the person. I don't think he wanted anybody involved. He wanted control of her. I think it was all. And again, I base that on what I was told when they started investigating. And all that's will be in files and stuff. If people want to dig through it, like, go ahead. I mean, it's public, you can go through it and everything. So
it's so hard. I mean, men in our culture are immediately looked at as
you're guilty,
as the aggressor, right?
Yes, you're. I thought that in '82.
And I'm with you, show poodles. I'm a woman.
Stuff today
that's not true.
Isn't any different.
Some of these women out there, I'm sorry, they are bad. They are. You know what?
I really don't care what the media thinks one way or another. I really don't care what they think. What my daughter thinks, what I know, all matters to me. The rest of everybody else, they can either think about it, wonder about it, or not. But I would ask them, to really think about what they're saying because, you have somebody that didn't leave just me. She left everybody. There's something got to be more there to it than that she's just running from where she's at. So, but again, that's we ended up in court with it, and I don't know which way all that is going to go.
Well, Joe, you said you take a lie detector test, right? I mean, you were like, I'll do whatever I need to do, a polygraph or whatever I need to do.
Yeah, it was by a polygraph. She'd have to take one too, but it's hoping that we would all get past this so we could just go on. She can't give me back 43 years. She can't give her daughter back, but she could apologize. She could say she was sorry. She could do that.
Would that go a long way right now still, even after what she did in that interrogation?
It would go a long way to me. The other thing I would like to see is to retract what she said. But
that is so complicated. It's amazing, your story, Joe, and the way that your family has stayed together to be able to embrace Michelle at this point.
Well, we're overwhelmed with her. I mean, she is just as lovely as we could ever expect it. I mean, and herself, she's embraced our family and lets us be a part of her life because she didn't have to do that. And it's been an amazing thing because I was really scared that she wouldn't have that bond, but that's far, far from being the truth. It was instant when didn't have to ask, we knew. It's just greatest moment in my life outside the day she was born. So it was pretty close. Like it been reborn.
I guess the one last thing I wanted to ask you, Joe, I got a chance to talk to Wayne. You'll remember Wayne Brookover. He was the second man that Deborah Newton took as a husband. They were together for 10 years. I talked with him in a previous episode, so be sure to check that out.
I think the cover-up continues. And I could see that when they arrested her. He's like, oh, they're not here for me. Like, you had to have some idea.
He said he always suspected that she was hiding something, but never thought it was this serious.
As a dad, because I have raised kids myself, and I told him, I said, as a dad, I always prayed that she had somebody out there that would treat her like a daughter. Because I was telling Shelley when I was raising the kids a lot of the time, I would look at, how would I want my daughter to be treated? And that's how it helped me raise them. I wanted them, be a dad. And that's what Wayne was to her and still is. I can't thank him enough for it. He's a good man. So, when you look at it, when you are missing somebody like your daughter or your loved one, you hope that there's people out there that, treat them with respect and like they're theirs. And he did that. So I can't thank him enough for that.
It's like when you have one kid, you think, I could never love anybody as much as I love that one kid. Like when I have my first kid, it was like, never, ever. There's no way. I could never love anybody that much again. And then the second one comes along and you're like, oh my God. You can. There is no limit to how much you can love.
Well, I found that the kids, I think my situation has affected me in the way that I love kids a lot more than the adults. I have to say, the kids are just kids, So a lot of times I think about Shelley through them, and it helped me. So my stepdaughter, she got to meet her, and I said, "You got a sister, you need that." So we've tried to meet the ones that in my life, and she's got siblings that I've raised, and they just, it's neat. So out of every tragedy, there comes some other good in different directions, and we both have done that. And again, Wayne is the best thing I could ask for,
somebody to treat her
for my daughter, and not everybody gets that,
Well, and Joe, you know what I said to Michelle in our first interview? I said, you're so lucky that your dad, Joe, is so young. And she said, well, he had a heart transplant last year. And I said, and he's got a new ticker. So not only do you have a dad that's young, I mean, you're younger than my brother.
Yeah.
So you're young. We're young, Joe. We're young. You got a new lease on life, and you got it a year before she showed up.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of catching up to do.
Survived all that.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll catch it up all, but we're going to work on it. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. I literally am dumbfounded at your ability and graciousness and gratitude through this process.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a special person. Now, after hearing Joe's side of the story, I want you to drop a comment. Tell me what you think, and bear with us because there's so much more to this story. I have so many questions myself, and there's so many things that I want to share with you. Please like and subscribe, and be sure to follow us at Criminally Obsessed, because we will continue to have conversations like this that are at the center of the stories that you care about. Thanks.
Hold on, y'all. My Wi-Fi went out. Hold on. My Wi-Fi went out, and I got to get my code again. Jesus, Lord. How did I do that? Really? Oh my word. Why is it doing that? I don't know why it's okay. I don't know why my Wi-Fi keeps popping in and out. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, Joe, actually, he is a good guy. He is a good guy. And you can tell that. I think this lady was a great interviewer, and make sure that y'all go over to that channel and watch the other interviews. I think that would be interesting to see her interviewing the ex-husband of that lady, and he thought something was crazy too about all this. It's just sad, man. It's sad that all these years was lost, and she didn't know she had her father. She didn't know she was missing. And then one day, the truth finally came knocking at the door to let her know, you are a missing person. That had to be crazy in itself. And she never knew that, she was living a complete lie. It was, and that wasn't her name. That wasn't her mother's name. So a courtroom in Kentucky, in Jefferson County, Louisville, Kentucky, will decide the fate of her mother. They will decide what accountability is going to look like for her after 4 decades. But today's story, I wanted to bring it to you, and it reminds us of something bigger. Time might pass, years may go by, but the truth always has a way of creeping back up. It always has a way of finding its way back into the light, because light always finds its way back from the dark. So if you're out there today watching, if you're watching on replay, whatever, if somebody shared this with you, if you've been searching for someone or praying for answers in a case that feels like it's forgotten, don't give up hope. Never give up hope. This is proof right here. Because sometimes answers come years later, maybe even decades later. This stuff really does happen, people. But sometimes answers still come. Answers still do come. But the most important thing here is, and I wanted to let you know, tips work. And obviously, age progression works. And I pray that the age progression happens with Sebastian's case soon. I hope they get on that soon. I don't know if he's alive. I don't know if he's out there somewhere. I always got to have hope, though. I can't turn my eye to that. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. It don't matter what we think, okay? But this age progression stuff obviously works. These tips obviously work, and we cannot give up hope on anybody. This story right here is proof. It's proof. I thank you all for being here today. I thank you for your love and your support. You know, I thank you for everything. All my mods, everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play us out. I thank you for being here. I love y'all. Please hit the thumbs up. Share this out so people will have more hope. Keep these kids, keep these older adults, keep anybody who's missing their name, their faces out there. There is hope. And keep them tips rolling in, even if it's cold cases. All right, let's see here. Let's play us out. Thank you for being here.
She was born and bred in Nashville. Now she walks the beaches down in Florida sand. A mother and wife, a daughter, a sister, trying hard to do the best she can. She found her voice with a heavy heart, looking for purpose with trembling hands. And giving this all a new start, moving ahead, speaking for ones who can't. She says I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be turned. Her mama fought cancer while she was searching, stories that needed a gentle voice. We saw summer's name and felt the heart awaken, tried to bring light where there was no choice. And when she heard of Sebastian, her sadness rose. She prays for truth through the noise. She'll follow wherever the story goes, seeking their dignity, a child's joy. She says I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be turned. She said I am who I am, I stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard. She's got a caring heart that won't be turned.